Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So it is that time again. It is time for me to we're just gonna start with my part again. You've done yours, you're good.
Yeah, I feel like I've nailed it.
Okay. All right, guys. So this is the series where I convince you and my bestie to read a book within a certain trope within romance that they wouldn't normally choose for themselves, or just one that we think would be really fun. And that is what we're going to be doing today. So Mandy, are you ready?
I'm ready. But first, peeps, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We love to give away free books, and the only way you can be entered is if we know you've subscribed to us. So please hit that subscribe button, tell your friends, and you can also follow us on Instagram for an extra entry. Everything's linked below.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
What are you convincing me?
I'm convincing you to read books that are set in Alaska.
Oh, let me go grab my mittens.
We're not going to Alaska today anyway. We're not going to Alaska, but I'm going to convince you to read. So all of these books are set in Alaska. They all have different elements to them, but these ones were more like Alaska done right, by the way.
So they're not just Alaskan books. They're done right, peeps.
Yeah. So for those who haven't been around, if you don't know, I lived in Alaska in my childhood and as an adult, and books written about. I'm very passionate about authors writing about Alaska and getting it correct. So
passionately aggressive.
Oops. So there are books that, like Mandy has said before, I will tear a good book down big time if they get Alaska wrong. So caution for all the authors out there. Anyhow, okay.
Is that why you're wearing your lumberjack flannel?
No, I'm wearing my Dean Winchester flannel. It's my supernatural flannel.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started.
I was ready like 10 takes ago. That's how many
I'm sorry.
We had to keep redoing.
Kept messing it up.
At the very beginning, people, just explaining before she even told us what she was talking about, it was simply the welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. Today we're going to be, multiple takes.
In all fairness, this is what our 4th or 5th video that we've recorded today. Like, in all fairness, I mean,
I'd just like to point out I nailed, and I'm here with my bestie Jessica. I got that line every single time.
So good with her part. Okay, all right. So you ready for the first book?
I am.
Okay, I need you to broaden your mind here and your acceptance of the crap that I love. Okay, I need you to. You know you're gonna need some of these for future videos anyway. So broaden.
I'm not reading a love triangle ever again.
Giving you a love triangle.
Okay.
So the first book that I have that is set in Alaska is Echo by Seven Rue. This book, you have to get the ebook from her website. I think it's also on Eden Books, but it's not on Amazon. So you do have to get the ebook there. Okay. So this is about Echo, who's 18. She lives in Juneau, and she is fleeing. When the book starts out, she is fleeing from her stepfather, who is very cruel to her and abusive towards her. So she's running through the woods without shoes, and she comes across a hunter's cabin. So she breaks in to the hunter's cabin and decides that she's going to hunker down there for a little while. There is some food stores left there, but she can tell nobody's been there. And then, like, after a week of being in the hunter's cabin, 3 brothers show up. They're on their, they've driven there from Homer. Which is like a 24-hour drive, and they are there to hunt. There is a 19-year age gap between the oldest brother and Echo. And then you have, there's 2 other brothers. So this is why I choose, because she is with all 3. But Echo is mute. She can hear, but something happened to her vocal cords as a baby, that there was something that had to be removed from her vocal cords as a baby. Okay. So that is Echo. Okay. Then I'm going to give you the ultimate. The ultimate.
The ultimate, okay.
Mm-hmm. And that is Hills of Shivers and Shadows by Pam Godwin. I've talked a lot about this book lately, and there's a reason why. So this is the first of a trilogy. It is Polly. It's not necessarily why choose. She's calling it Polly. And it is an extreme slow burn. The first book is, it's extremely slow. The first book is 700 pages and very, very slow. I'm not going to give you guys a lot of information on this one just because I don't want to give anything away. It'd be very easy to give something away about this book. But this is about Frankie, who is married. She lives in Sitka. And with her husband, her very wealthy husband. And one day she is kidnapped and she is taken to the Arctic Circle. And there is 3 brothers there and the person who kidnapped her. And this is ultimately, there's survival. There's, it's captor captive. It's dark. It's so friggin' good that it's all I can think about. And it's been, like, I finished this book. Like on the last day of January. So, yeah. Okay. So that is that one. Then we have one that I've told you I've tried to get you to read before. This is Wildling by Lynn Burke. This is the second book in her Midnight Sun series. But the first 2 can be read out of order. If you're going to read the third, then you have to read it after you read the first 2. So this is about Roan and Annie. Yes, Rowan and Annie. I had to look. I was like, wait a minute. Yes, Rowan and Annie. So Annie lives in a little, like in a remote town in Alaska. I mean, it's not necessarily remote. People fly in from the bush to refuel and to get their supplies from wherever she lives. She lives in a pretty horrible home environment. Her parents, it's just not a really great environment. She's dying to get out. She meets a guy a few months prior when he's in town. He's older than her and she's, she just wants to get out. So she meets this guy who lives in the bush and he is really, he's only in town for like a day or 2. And, he's really charming when she first meets him. And he comes back. Like, I think it's during winter and now it's the beginning of spring or vice versa. It's just the certain times of year when they come back. So he comes back to get supplies again to take back out to his homestead. And when he does, he's like, hey, remember me? Obviously, because they kind of hit it off. He's like, I'm only here for a day, but I want to take you home as my wife. And that's just kind of how things happen there. It's explained really well. I'm obviously not explaining it very well. She's a virgin. They get married, they have their wedding night, and she's like, this is not what I was expecting. And then they fly out, they take a float plane, they fly out to the homestead. And when she gets there, she meets Roan, who is this guy's 18-year-old son that she didn't know that he had. Once they get out there and they start living out there, she realizes the man she married is not who she thought. I mean, granted, the woman knew him for 3 damn days, so what did you expect? But he starts to become physically and verbally abusive to her, and he already has been with Roan. So that is where Roan and Annie really start to cling to each other. I love this book. I love this book so friggin' much. It is dark, but I love it so much. Just feel like you need to know that. Okay. Then the next book that I have is Tempt Me by K.A. Tucker. So this is the start of her Wolf Hotel series. This is about Henry Wolf. He owns a bunch of hotels and they are on an island south of Homer. The author never says what they are, but there are islands on there. My cousin or my aunt's from one of them. But anyhow, side note. Okay. So he's opening this grand hotel on this island south of Homer. And you have Abby, who's our heroine. She's from this small town in the South, and she just wants to get away. She finds out that her fiance is cheating on her, and so she cuts things off with him, and she uproots her life, even though her parents don't want her to. And she applies for this job at the Wolf Hotel as a landscape artist. Well, when she gets there, because she doesn't necessarily have the qualifications, but when she gets there, that's not really the job she was given, and she's not very happy about it. And one night after some drunken debauchery, she, not necessarily debauchery, she just gets drunk. She runs into Henry Wolf. And things go from there. Like he ends up carrying her back to her cabin. So, so this is a series. I think this is 4 books. Yeah, it's technically 5 because the last one just came out. I haven't read the last one, but this is their story. So that's that one. Then we have. All right. So the next book is called Cold Hearted. It is by Heather Greer, and it is the first book in a series of standalones. I think they're somewhat connected, but I've only read the first 2, and you don't have to read them in order to get what's going on here. So this is about Grace and Caleb. Grace takes a job in Alaska to escape her past. It's a teaching position in this remote little tiny village. And it's a really tight-knit community. There's a lot of secrets in this community. Grace is obviously battling some of her own stuff, especially because she is, running from something. That she meets Caleb. Caleb is, he is like the ultimate grumpy. Like there's reasons, and he is hiding something from her. The whole town is hiding something from her, but there's definitely love to hate, or hate to love. They love to hate each other. They hate to love each other. Relationship going on here. They are at each other's throats. She doesn't understand why he's so cruel to her. She loves the town, but there is something. So this is paranormal. I will tell you that, but he is hiding something important. It's so freaking good though. And I really loved in this book, the author I was looking it up after reading it to see if she was from Alaska, because the surnames for the village, the people that live in the village, were like spot on accurate Alaskan Native names, and the ones that we hear a lot of. Like I know people with these last names. So it was very good. She did a very, very good job with that. And then the last book, because that's 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then the last book that I have, I lost the correct book here because I had to pull last year's notes. Darn it. Okay. So this one, Mandy, I'm sorry. It is Omegaverse, and you're just going to have to suck it up. So
I don't have to pick it.
You don't have to pick it, but it is good. So this is Hypnotized, and it's by E.J. Lawson. And this is about our Omega, who is promised a wealthy and influential pack. Like she's come from their little Omega school, and she is being given to this pack who live far north in Alaska. So she travels to Anchorage. Her father puts her on a plane, and she's on her way there. Like the other pack has provided the private jet to their homestead, which is a little hard to believe, but okay. Anyhow, so she's on her way there when the plane crashes, and everyone on board that plane dies except for her. Then she is discovered by a guy in the wilderness who takes her home to his homestead with 2 other alphas. So this is a completely different pack that she ends up with. So there's a little bit of survival there. There's plane crash there, and it's really good. So, I mean, I liked the books in this series. This is my favorite out of that series. The other ones were kind of like, All right. So, okay, Mandy. So there's your 6.
Okay. So I already have Hills of Shivers and Shadows on my March TBR. So I'm already going to read that. So in the spirit of this, I'm going to not pick that one because I'm already reading it for, that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So then I really don't know what to pick out of the other 5 because they all sound pretty good.
Really? Even the Omegaverse?
I mean, it's kind of an interesting story. The plane crashes. She gets picked up by a different pack. I mean,
but it's only 3 guys, and opposed to some of these Omegaverses, they've got like 20, and that's what I'm like, dude, it's too much. So it is only 3. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like sometimes we do this and something just stands out and I'm like, that's the book. And I can't decide. I think I'm trying to narrow it down between Wilding and Tempt Me.
I think you would like both.
Both of them, I think you've told me to read before.
Yes. And Wilding obviously is a little more darker. I'm like thinking about what I think you'll love Tempt Me as well. There's just a couple things in there that I'm like, oh, that could be questionable. But I do think that you would love them both.
I'm going to go with Wolf Hotel. You've been telling me for a very long time I need to read that.
Okay.
So I'm going to read that.
Audio for that one. You could listen to that one too. The audio is good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys. So that's that. So we'll be back after Mandy reads Tempt Me. Okay, Mandy. So you finished Alaska. Let's talk about it.
Let's
go. You should have chose Pam Godwin's book, right? That's what you're telling me?
Well, we recorded a release, so that wasn't an option. But
you should have chose Wildling.
Yes. So, okay, first off, I want to say I do like K.A. Tucker. I read Chasing River, really enjoyed it. This book the series was not for me. First of all, I didn't realize I had to read 4 books to get to the end. I missed that part.
5.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What?
There's technically 5. I said that.
Yes, but you only have to get to 4 to have read everything.
Yeah.
So, like the 5th book is set in the future or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I was all on board with the story, but once, I don't think this is a spoiler because this happens at the very beginning. Once she loses her virginity, she's like, gives it up to anybody, male or female. And it's just like repeated sex scenes. I don't know if they're done for shock value or what, but it's just repeated over and over again with like random, not like random strangers. Like she knows these people, but like they're at a dinner party and the next thing you know, she's spreading her legs so the other lady can go down on her. Like it's really weird. It was not for me. Like, and there's just
I forgot that was a thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah. It happens. Like, I mean, that's basically what the 4 books are. I like a very possessive hero, no one touches her but me type thing. And I like a heroine that's a little more dedicated to her man. Like she's, yeah. It's just way too much other stuff. And honestly, I think if you took all of that out of the 4 books, you would have only been left for like a book. Like it was a lot. It was just, yeah. I thought like when it first started happening, I'm like, okay, I can overlook this. We'll just get to like the next part and it'll drive the story. No, just kept dragging. So Jessica told me people like, she's like, this is a beloved story it is.
It's a well-loved story. Yeah, it is a well-loved series. So
my rating is a 2.
I think that's okay. I think that's valid. I mean, I didn't like the last book I had to read. It's all good. It's going to happen. So you don't have to agree with everybody.
And I want to say this was something I'd been planning on reading. You've talked about it before. I had it actually already. I listened to it. I already had it on Audible. I've had it there for a while. So I was like, oh yeah. I also have Wilding. Like I've heard about these Alaska books. It just wasn't the choice for me. Again, really like the author, love Chasing River. I was like, wait, that's the same author? Very different scenarios happening in these books. So she's very versatile. So if you're all about that scene, go read the Wolf Hotel series. You will have 4 books that you can just really get into.
Possibly 5. We just haven't read the 5th yet. That one could be just as wild.
I'm going to. I'm tapping
I seriously think you should have picked Wildling because I think that you would have really loved that. But
yeah, I do need to read that.
It's all good. It's okay. All right, guys. We're going to add this to the list of books that we don't agree on, which is a very short list, but it's all good. But hey, we did it.
Okay. So make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. And don't forget to leave us a comment. Which one of these Alaska books did you enjoy? And if you have an idea for convincing my bestie and there's a trope you want to see us do, leave that in the comments as well.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.